So let us continue with this Arrhenius equation. Fine, let us continue with this Arrhenius equation. So what was the original form of Arrhenius equation? The original form of Arrhenius equation was K was equal to A e to the power minus EA by RT. Fine. So the original form of your Arrhenius equation. And yes, after taking log, okay, both the sides, okay, what was the K was equal to minus EA by, yes, what was it? 2.303 R into 1 by T plus log A. Okay, so this was the Arrhenius equation after we took log on both the sides. Right? So today what are you going to do? Okay, so actually what does Arrhenius equation gives us? Arrhenius equation gives us the dependence of rate on the temperature. It gives a relationship between the rate and temperature. Okay, and this equation was of the form of y equals to mx plus 6. So we plotted some graphs. Okay, so today we are just going to see how the rate constant varies with the change in temperature. Okay, as the temperature changes, how does the rate constant vary? Fine. So let us suppose that. Okay, let us suppose that K1, small k1 is the rate constant. It is the rate constant. It is the rate constant at temperature T1. Okay, K1 is the rate constant at temperature T1. And what is K2? K2 is the rate constant similarly at temperature T2. Okay, and we here assume that the temperature T2 is higher than the temperature T1. So this is the assumption. So K1 is the rate constant at lower temperature T1 and K2 is the rate constant at higher temperature T2. Fine. So K1 is the rate constant at lower temperature T1 and K2 is the rate constant at higher temperature. The values of rate constant. What will be the form now? So log K1 equals to minus EA by 2.303 R into 1 by T1 plus log A. So let this be equation number 1. Let this be equation number 1. Okay, so K1 is the rate constant at lower temperature T1. Similarly, here log K2 EA by 2.303 R into 1 by T2 into 1 by T2.
Sir,
Okay.
sir,
Yes, yes, I can see them. कब से ये लोग? Just a minute. Okay, so into 1 by T2 plus log A. So let this be equation number 2. Let this be equation number 2. Fine. Okay, so we got
Sir,
two equations. Okay, where
excuse me, sir.
K1 is the rate constant. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, tell
Sir,
me.
the board is not clearly visible.
It's signing.
It's a
Now
blur.
it's okay. Blood
No,
आ रहा है.
sir.
Now it's fine. Okay, so I'm just substituting value of temperature and rate constant in this particular equation. Find equation 1 from equation 2. So what we do is equation 2 minus equation 1. Give it a try. What will you get? What will be the final form? What will be the final form if you subtract equation 1 from equation 2? Please do it. Please do it. Give it a try. So what are we doing out here? We are subtracting equation 1. Okay, we are subtracting equation 1 from equation 2. Okay, just give it a try. What will be the final form? Tell me. Okay. So, yes, any one of you, what will be the final form? So you just need to subtract, okay, simple subtraction. So let us see. So we are subtracting this from this. So it will be log K2 minus log K1 is equal to minus EA by 2.303 R 1 by P2. Fine. Minus of minus EA by 2.303 R into 1 by P1. Fine. So remember we have a minus sign out there. We have a minus sign. Okay. So let us now simplify this equation. So what is the formula of log A minus log B? It will be log A by B. It will be log A by B. Okay. It will be log A by B. So minus minus will be plus. Minus minus will be plus. I'm taking this common. So it will be EA by 2.303 R. I'm taking this two factors common. So it will be 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. Or if we further simplify this equation, then it will be log K2 by K1 will be equal to EA. So I've taken plus common out here, right? Okay, so there will be no minus sign out here. By 0.30 R T2 minus T1 divided by T1, T2. So this is the Arrhenius equation at two different temperatures. Okay, so this will be the Arrhenius equation at two different temperatures. So remember out here, K1 is the rate constant at lower temperature T1, and K2 is the rate constant at higher temperature T2. Okay, so you need to remember this equation. Fine. So here we came to know that, okay, there are actually three different forms of Arrhenius equation. So what are the three forms of Arrhenius equation? One is here K equals to A e to the power minus EA by RT. Fine. After taking log, it will be log K equals to minus 2 minus EA by 2.303 R into 1 by P plus log A, and the other one is this. So this is the Arrhenius equation at two different temperatures. Fine. So depending upon the numericals, we have to use either of this equation. Depending upon the numerical, we have to use either of this equation. So let us see one or two numericals. Okay, so let us see one or two numericals. I think this is understood. Okay, what are we doing? Simply we are subtracting it. Okay, simply we are subtracting it. Right? Okay, so let us just see whatever numericals we can expect here. Fine. Okay. So I'm going to rub this. I'm going to rub this. So please note it down in your notebook. Okay. Now let us see the type of numericals which might come. Okay. So quickly write down the first numerical. So it says that the first question says that the decomposition of hydrocarbon, follows the equation. So what is the equation? Equation is small k equals to 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 11 second inverse e to the power minus 2800 Kelvin divided by T. Okay. So what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to calculate EA. You are supposed to calculate EA. Fine. So this is the question. You are supposed to calculate EA. Now tell me, this equation is similar to which form of Arrhenius equation? This equation is similar to which form of Arrhenius equation? Says, kindly tell me. This equation is similar to which form of Arrhenius equation?
A into e to the power EA by RT.
Yes, exactly. Okay, fine. So this equation has been expressed in this form of Arrhenius equation, EA by RT. Okay, so here it is given K equals to 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 11 e to the power minus 2800 by T Kelvin. Fine. So now let us compare this to equation. Let us compare this to equation. Now we know this equation has been expressed in this form of Arrhenius equation. So let us compare. We just need to compare the things now. So we have K. So what is the A equivalent to out here? What is the value of A? What is the value of A out here? The value of A is 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 11. So here we have 1 by T. Here also I have 1 by T. So what is this? Minus 200 is equal to what then? We are just making a comparison. A is equal to this. Okay, we have 1 by T out here. I have 1 by T out here. So this 2800 is equal to what? So on
EA by R.
comparison, okay, exactly. On comparing these two equations, we find that this value minus 2800 is equal to minus EA by R. Minus 2800 is equal to minus EA by R. So we can say EA by R equals to 2800. Yes, I can do this. So now you tell me what will be the value of R which I am going to put out here. I am calculating activation energy. So what will be the value of R I'll be putting out here? Which value of R? We have to put down the value of R in energy. And what is the value of R in joules? 8.314. Since we are calculating energy out here. So the value of R should be in energy. So it will be equal to R into 8.314 into 2800. So what will be the unit? My unit will be joule per mole. So this is my answer. So if you wish to convert this into kilojoule, you simply divide by 1000. So after dividing by 1000, what will you get? 8.314 into 2.8 kilojoule per mole. So you can express the answer either in joule or in kilojoule. Now in the subsequent problems, I'll tell you, okay, which unit of energy you'll express, either in joule or kilojoule. Here you can express either in joule or kilojoule. It's not an issue out here. Okay, but in the subsequent numericals, I'll tell you. Fine. So these type of problems are very common. So a form of Arrhenius equation will be given like this. So you have to just identify this particular equation which is given is expressed in which form of Arrhenius equation. So here we see that this is expressed in the original form of Arrhenius equation. Okay, and we just compared it. After comparison, we found that this 2800 is equal to EA by R. Fine. So this is one form of your numericals. Okay. So now, without wasting much time, let us quickly move towards the next problem. Okay, let us quickly move towards the next problem. Okay, fine. So it's given the rate constant, for your first order, decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. Okay, the rate constant for first decomposition of hydrocarbon hydrogen peroxide is given by log K equal to 14.34 into 14.34, sorry, it will be minus 14.34 minus 1.25 into 10 to the power 4 divided by T. Okay, now it is expressed in this form. Again, the question says calculate the value of activation energy. The question says calculate EA. The question says calculate EA. Okay. Now, tell me this particular equation which is given out here. Okay, it is expressed in which form of Arrhenius equation? It is expressed in which form of Arrhenius equation? Here we see log, so it should not be a problem. So it is expressed in the log form of Arrhenius equation. So what is the original Arrhenius equation? The original Arrhenius equation is, yes, write it down. So log K equals to, what is the original form? Log A minus EA by 2.303 R into 1 by T. So I've just written this log A. I've just written this log A in the front. Okay, I've just written this log A in the front side. Okay, so that the comparison will now be easier. What have I done? I've just written this log A in the front. Okay, now let me rewrite this equation. So log K is equal to 14.34 minus 1.25 into 10 to the power 4 divided by P Kelvin. So similar type of problem. What you do is now you again make a comparison between these two equations. You make a comparison. Okay, you compare these two equations. So we have log K. So what is the value of log A? The value of log A is 14.34. So here I have 1 by T, here also I have 1 by T. So this value 1.25 into 10 to the power 4 is equal to what again? On comparison, what do we find? After comparing these two equations, what do you find? Yes, tell me. On comparing these two equations, okay, so we see that this value 1.25 into 10 to the power 4. Okay, 1.25 into 10 to the power 4, this is equal to EA by 2.303 R. Because here I have 1 by T, here also I have 1 by T. So this value is equal to EA by 2.303 R. So yes, I can now write EA by 2.303 R is equal to 1.25 into 10 to the power 4. I can write this. Okay. So therefore, EA will be equal to what? EA will be equal to 1.25 into 10 to the power 4 into 2.303 into 8.314. Again, what will be my unit? My unit will be in joule. Okay, so this will be in joule per mole. Now, if you want to express in kilojoule, simply you divide by 1000. So after you divide by 1000, the value of EA will be 1.25 into 10. I'm dividing by 1000 into 2.303 into 8.314 kilojoule per mole. Fine. So for ISC students, this is not a problem since you are allowed to use calculators, but for CV it will be quite time consuming out here because we need to multiply such a huge number. So what I suggest you is you can approximate this as well. So instead of 2.303, you just take 2.3. And instead of 8.314, you just take 8.3. But remember, whenever you approximate the values, always give your answer in kilojoule. Always give your answer in kilojoule. Fine. So what do I mean by this? So I'll just explain this in the next problem. I'm explaining this in the next problem. So these are the two types of problems, comparison problems. Okay, a form of equation will be given. Okay, you have to compare with the Arrhenius equation. Which form of Arrhenius equation? It is clearly understood out. This is the log form of Arrhenius equation. The earlier problem was a simple Arrhenius equation. You need to just compare the values. Fine. Okay. So I hope this is understood. Now again, let us move towards the third category of problem. Let us move towards the third category of problem. Numericals related to graph might come out here. Okay, some numericals related to graph might come. Okay, so graph has been discussed extensively. What was the value of slope? Okay, and what is slope tan theta? Okay, the value of perpendicular base might be given. From there you have to find out the slope and so on. Okay, so let me quickly move towards the second category of problem. Okay, so here it is written rate of a reaction, okay, quadruples. The rate of reaction quadruples when the temperature changes from when the temperature changes from 293 Kelvin to 313 Kelvin. Okay, again calculate the activation energy. Calculate the activation energy. So simply by looking at this problem, we can say, okay, here two different temperatures are mentioned. So which form of Arrhenius equation are you going to use out here? So what is the Arrhenius equation at two different temperatures? Okay, just now we did use the equation. So what is the form? One is equal to EA by 2.303 R 1 by T1, or I'm just going to write on the final form T2 minus T1 divided by T1, T2. And between this T1 and T2, which one is the higher temperature out here? Which one is the higher temperature out here, T1 or T2? So the higher temperature is T2. And what is the rate constant at temperature T2? K2. The lower temperature is T1. And what is the rate constant at temperature T1? K1. Fine. So what is the value of T1 given? It is equal to 293 Kelvin. Okay. And what is the higher temperature given? T2 equals to 313 Kelvin. This is given. Now, according to the question, as the temperature changes from 293 to 313 Kelvin, what will happen to the rate? The rate of a reaction quadruples. The rate of a reaction quadruples means it increases by 4 times. So that means as the temperature changes from T1 to T2, the rate of a reaction, okay, changes by 4 times. That means K2 will become equal to 4 times your initial rate constant K1. So as the temperature changes to T2, the rate constant quadruples. It becomes 4 times. The rate of a reaction doubles is given then. What will you write down out here? K2 is equal to twice K1. If in the question the rate of a reaction becomes triple, then what will you write down? K2 equals to 3 K1. That means what is the value of K2 by K1 then? The K1 is equal to 4. The value of K2 by K1 equals to 4. Fine. So what are we going to do now? Let's value the particular equation. So what is the value of K2 by K1? The value of K2 by K1 is equal to 4. So 4 I can write 2 to the power 2. Fine. The value of K2 by K1 equals to 4. 4 to the power 2. And what is the value of T2? The value of T minus 293. Fine. Okay. And T1 is 313 multiplied by 293. So I'm simply substituting the values out here, and yes, we don't have a negative sign out here. Don't get confused, right? Okay, we don't have a negative sign out here. So now the chemistry part is over. Chemistry part is over now. Just need to carry out the simple calculation. So what is the value of log 4? It's 2 log 2. 2 log 2 means 2 into 0.3010 is equal to EA by 2.303 into 8.314. Fine. Into, I think this is 20, divided by 313 into 293. Okay, now you are supposed to calculate the value of EA. So EA will be equal to 0.6020, fine, into 2.303 into 8.314 into 313 into 293 divided by 20. So yes, you have to carry out this calculation. There is no alternative to this. Fine, and answer will be in joule per mole. Okay, now some of you might ask me, so what if I leave the answer till here? Because this is quite a big calculation. So it depends upon the examiner. Either they will award you full marks or they will deduct some marks from you if you don't give the exact answer. Fine. So someone quickly calculate and give me the value out here. Give me the value. What will be the value? Calculate and give me the value. So what will be the value out here? What is the answer then? In joule. So it will be 52854. This will be 52854.5 joule per mole. Fine. So the answer will be 52854.5 joule per mole. But yes, again, you might ask me, so how to carry out such a large calculation? How to carry out such a large calculation? Okay, again, I'm telling you, there is no option. Eh? There is no option. You have to do the calculation. So now, this is the answer. Now, what will I do? I'll just approximate it. I'll approximate it. Okay. So let me approximate. EA is equal to 0.6. I'll take this as 0.6. I'll take this as 2.3. I'll take this as 8.3. I'll take this as, you have to take this as 313, 293 divided by 20. So I have made the calculations somewhat easy out. So yes, what will be the answer here? What is going to be the answer? After approximating. Tell me quickly. Give me the answer. Calculate karo, calculator mein. Give me the answer. Chalo, quickly. So this is the answer without approximating. This is the answer without approximating. So what will be the answer after I approximate? 0.6 into 2.3 multiplied by 8.3 multiplied by 313 into 293 divided by 20.
So 52,521.74.
52,000, yes.
521.
521, yes. Point
0.74. 74.
0.7. This will be in joule, yes. After approximating. Now listen very carefully. So is there a difference between this answer and this answer? Without approximating and after approximate, is there a difference? Yes, there is a big difference. It's 52854 here. It is 52521.7. So now that is why I insisted you to give your answer in kilojoule. So okay, chalo, let me convert this into kilojoule. You divide by 1000, what will be your answer? 52.5 kilojoule per mole. So this is going to be my answer after I convert into kilojoule. So if I keep the answer in joule, there is going to be a big difference out here between the original answer and the answer I got after approximating. Now let me again convert this into kilojoule. Let me convert this into kilojoule. So what will be the answer in kilojoule? It will be 52.8 kilojoule per mole. Now you make a comparison of your answer in kilojoule. It's 52.5, yeah, it's 52.5. Is there a big difference now? Is there a big difference in kilojoule? In joule, there is a big difference. 52521, here it was 52854. In joule, there is a big difference. But in kilojoule, is there a big difference between the original answer and the answer we got after approximation? No, there is a small difference. Here it is 52.5, here it is 52.8. So that is why in such large calculations, you approximate the values, but keep in mind that after approximating the values, give your answer in kilojoule, not in joule. If you give the answer in joule, then there is going to be a big difference with the original answer. But if you convert this into kilojoule, there will be a difference, but the difference will be small. So that is when I was telling you to express your answer in kilojoule. Fine. So is the thing understood? Why do we need to convert into kilojoule? Yes, is the concept understood? So because after converting into kilojoule, okay, the answer we got after approximation will be quite similar to that with the original answer. So remember, it's a long calculation. Okay, so you have to do the calculations, and remember, especially CBSE students. Okay, so West Bengal and ISC, they are supposed to use, they are allowed to use calculator. It should not be an issue. But especially for CBSE students, you give your answer in kilojoule. So these are the different forms of Arrhenius equation. These are the different types of problems related to your Arrhenius equation. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So without wasting much time again, let us quickly move towards our another topic. Okay, so let us move towards this topic here. Effect of catalyst on rate. Effect of catalyst on rate of a reaction. Okay, so what will be the effect of catalyst on rate? So we know we have our answer. So there are two types of catalysts. So one is your positive catalyst, which increases the rate of a reaction. The other one was the negative catalyst, which decreases the rate of a reaction. So today we shall study in details, okay, the effect of catalyst on the rate. Okay. Okay, so once again here, I will draw the graph. Once again, I'll draw the graph. Okay, which graph will I draw? The same graph which we have done earlier. Energy versus your progress of reaction. We are going to plot energy. We are going to plot energy out here. Fine, and here progress of reaction. Here we are going to plot progress of a reaction. Okay, so let this be the energy of reactant again, ER. Fine, and let this be the energy of product. So here I'm talking about what kind of reactions, exothermic or endothermic. I made this concept clear earlier. Which reaction am I talking about? I'm talking about exothermic reactions, or am I talking about endothermic reactions out here? Yes, what was the concept? The enthalpy change of a reaction is given by enthalpy of product minus enthalpy of reactant. Fine. So here the enthalpy of product, the energy of product is greater than energy of reactant in this case. So since HP is greater than HR, delta H will be positive. Positive means we are talking about endothermic reactions. So in the last class, okay, we have done in details that in order for a reactant to progress into product, it must overcome a certain energy barrier known as your threshold energy. It must possess a certain minimum amount of energy called threshold energy. Okay. So what is the threshold energy out here? It is ETH. A reactant molecule must possess at least this much amount of energy. But here we see the energy of reactant is less than the threshold energy. So the additional energy must be supplied in the form of your activation energy. It must be supplied in the form of your activation energy. Okay. And here, this is the energy of reactant, this is the energy of product. So what does this equal to? What is this equal to? Tell me, what is this difference equal to? What does this difference gives us? Energy of product, fine, minus energy of reactant. So what does this give? Energy of product minus energy of reactant. This difference is equal to, yes, this difference is equal to delta H, or sometimes we write delta HR, enthalpy of reaction, like this. So this discussed in the earlier classes. Okay, now we are discussing the effect of catalyst. How does a catalyst, okay, how does a positive catalyst increase the rate of a reaction? Very famous question in your board level. Okay, so in presence of a catalyst, okay, a catalyst, what does it do? It provides an alternative pathway like this. A catalyst provides an alternative pathway. A catalyst provides an alternative pathway having lower activation energy. Now, in absence of catalyst, this was the activation energy required. But a catalyst provides a different route where the activation energy required is less. So, in presence of a activation energy required, this is the activation energy required in presence of a catalyst. Got it? So if the question comes, explain how a catalyst increases the rate of a reaction, what is going to be answer? A catalyst provides an alternative pathway like this. A catalyst provides an alternative pathway. It provides a different route like this, having lower activation energy. And when the activation energy is required is less, the rate of a reaction will be high. This has also been discussed in our previous classes. So we can write down the answer that a catalyst, obviously a positive catalyst provides an alternative pathway, okay, having lower activation energy, thereby increasing the reaction rate. So this is the explanation. So if depending upon the question, yes, you can give the graph as well. So this graph will not take that time, it will take additional 1 minute. So if you supplement the answer with graph, that would be best. Okay, try to supplement the answer with the help of a graph. So fine, is it understood? So how does a catalyst increase the rate of a reaction? A catalyst increases the rate of a reaction by providing an alternative pathway having lower activation energy. Now, if I just modify the question, what happens in presence of a negative catalyst then? What will be the answer? What does a negative catalyst do? Positive catalyst, it lowers the activation energy. So what will the negative catalyst do then? What will the negative catalyst do? Yes, someone please tell me, what will the negative catalyst do? A negative catalyst will lower the rate of a reaction. Why does it lower the rate of a reaction? Again, a negative catalyst will provide an alternative pathway having higher activation energy. In presence of negative catalyst, what will happen? The activation energy increases. Fine. So that is why the reaction rate is lowered. Now, listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. Okay. Now, so I'm just going to, so this is the activation energy. Okay. So now let us consider one reaction. Reactant giving us product R to P. As the reaction proceeds from reactant to product, this is the activation energy required. This was the activation energy required. So just let me erase this. Okay, so this was the activation energy required when the reaction proceeds from reactant to product. So let this be denoted by EAF, means activation energy of forward reaction. Now let us think the other way around. Let us think the other way around. So when the reaction proceeds from product to reactant, when the reaction proceeds from product to reactant, what will be the activation energy required? From reactant to product, this is the activation energy required. From product to reactant, what will be the activation energy required? So the activation energy required will be this. EAB, matlab activation energy for backward reaction. Fine. So this is the activation energy for the forward reaction, reactant to product, and this is the activation energy for the backward reaction. Now this minus this is equal to what? Tell me quickly. EAF, activation energy of forward, minus EAB, activation energy of backward reaction. This is equal to what? Quickly tell me. EAF is this. This is EAF minus EAB. This is equal to what? EAF minus EAB is equal to what?
Delta HR.
Delta HR. Very good. Excellent. So the enthalpy of a reaction can be calculated by this formula. Activation energy of forward minus activation energy of backward. Got it? Is it understood, guys? Just analyze the graph. EAF is this. This is EAF. This is the energy of activation energy of forward. This whole thing was equal to EAF. This is equal to EAB. So EAF minus EAB is equal to delta HR. Now I'm going to ask you some very important questions. Now, in presence of catalyst, this was the activation energy for forward. Okay, and in presence of a catalyst, okay, this was the activation energy for the backward. This is the activation energy for the backward in presence of catalyst. Fine. Now you just concentrate the graph in presence of a catalyst. You just concentrate this red graph. Now again, what is this EAF in presence of catalyst and this EAB in absence of catalyst equal to? What is this difference equal to? This minus this equal to this minus this equal to this equal to what?
Del H.
Delta H. Delta H. So do you think delta H changes in presence of a catalyst? Do you think delta H has changed in presence of a catalyst? The answer will be no. Why does not delta H change? Because the activation energy for forward and backward reaction changes by the same amount. The activation energy for the forward reaction is changing by this amount. It is changing by this amount. It is decreasing by this amount. Fine. And the activation energy for the backward reaction is also changing by the same amount. See, in presence of a catalyst, activation energy for backward is decreased by this much. So very important concept for your boards as well as the entrance part. Remember, a catalyst does not affect the value of delta RH. Since, what is the answer? Yes, since, why? Why does not it affect the delta H? It affects the activation energy, yes, but delta H remains unchanged. Why? Since the activation, energy for and backward reaction, since the activation energy for forward and backward reaction here changes same amount, changes by the same amount. Fine. So the activation backward reaction, it changes same amount. Since it changes by the same amount, since the change for EAF and EAB is same, delta H remains. Very, 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 very important concept. So mark this as very important. Okay, so today with a fresh mind, again you sit with the, again you look at this graph. Once more you see the recorded classes. Okay, you see the graph, and again you just discuss this. Okay, you just go through this concept. So both EAF and EAB changes, but they change by the same amount in presence of catalyst. That is why delta RH remains unchanged. So not only this, delta H remains unchanged. Not only this, here delta G, Gibbs free energy change for the reaction, this will also remain unchanged. This will remain unchanged. So this can come in a MCQ. In presence of a catalyst, what changes then? What does a catalyst change then? A catalyst changes the rate of a reaction. Why? Because the activation energy decreases in presence of a positive catalyst. It changes the activation energy. It changes the activation, it decreases the activation energy for forward, it decreases the activation energy for backward as well. But as well as backward. Okay. So that is why delta RH remains unchanged. Furthermore, the Gibbs free energy will also remain unchanged. So this can come in your MCQ type of questions. Okay. So tell me guys if this is understood or not. Is this understood? Fine. So we have discussed about order of a reaction. So now we are going to discuss about molecularity of a reaction. Again, another important and very easy topic. Okay. And as far as the boards are concerned, yes, 1 or 2 questions are going to come from this, easy ones. So first of all, let us discuss what do you mean by molecularity of a reaction. Okay. So molecularity of a reaction is defined as the number of species. Species means it can be an atom, it can be a molecule, or it can be an ion. Okay, which collides simultaneously in the rate determining state. Okay, so first of all, please write down the definition. So what is the definition of molecularity? Molecularity of a reaction is defined as the number of species. Okay, it is defined as the number of species which collides simultaneously. Simultaneously means at the same time. Okay, which collides simultaneously in the rate determining state. Fine. Simultaneously means at the same time. So yes, we have discussed in details about the collision theory. It states that for a reaction to occur, there must be collision. And depending upon how many species are colliding in the rate determining state, that gives us the concept of molecularity. If one molecule is colliding, okay, it's a unimolecular reaction. If two species are colliding simultaneously, it's a bimolecular reaction, and so on. So let me give some examples. Okay, let me give some examples. Say PCl5, yes, it dissociates to give us PCl3 plus Cl2. So how many molecules are involved out here? How many molecules are involved? One. So since only one molecule is involved, this kind of reactions are known as a unimolecular reactions. Right? Unimolecular reaction. Let me discuss another example. Say 2HI giving us H2 plus I2. How many molecules are involved out here? 2. So if two molecules are involved, it's known as a bimolecular reaction. So remember, the two molecules must collide simultaneously. Okay. Say 2NO plus Cl2 gives you 2NoCl. How many species are there? 2NO and 1 chlorine. So it's a termolecular reaction. It's a termolecular reaction. So this is the concept of molecularity. The number of molecules which collides simultaneously. Okay, the number of molecules which collides simultaneously. Now listen carefully. Now see, let us consider this bimolecular reaction. So here, let us consider this unimolecular. Okay, or let me consider this bimolecular. So here, bimolecular reaction means these two molecules must collide simultaneously. Termolecular, the three molecules or three species, they must collide with each other at the same time. Fine. So in this case, Phrase is not able to join till now. So there are three species out here. 1, 2, 3. And as per the definition of molecularity, a reaction will be considered as termolecular only when three molecules they collide simultaneously. Only when three molecules collide simultaneously. It will be considered bimolecular when two molecules collide simultaneously. Now tell me, is the probability of three molecules colliding at the same time and two molecules colliding at the same time same, or are they different? The probability of three molecules undergoing simultaneous collision and the probability of two species undergoing simultaneous collision is same, or are they different? According to your logic. Yes? The thing is that as the number of species increases, the probability of simultaneous collision is going to decrease. And the probability of four molecules colliding at the same time is very, 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 very low. The probability of four molecules colliding at the same time is very, 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 very less. That is why molecularity of a reaction rarely exceeds 3. That is why it is said that molecularity of a reaction rarely exceeds 3. That means the molecularity cannot be 4. It cannot be a tetramolecular reactions are very rare. Why? Because the probability of species colliding simultaneously is extremely less or low. Fine. Again, a very famous board level question. Explain why molecularity of a reaction rarely exceeds 3. Because the probability as the number of species increases, the probability of simultaneous collision will go on decreasing. And here the probability of 4 molecules colliding at the same time is very less. That is why the molecularity rarely exceeds 3. Okay. Having said this, I'm just going to discuss one equation with you all, okay, which we have done in class 11, redox reaction. So the equation goes like this. Say MnO4 negative, I'm just on the ionic form, plus 8H positive, I'm on the electron. It gives us Mn dipositive plus 2. So this is an ionic reaction. It takes place very readily. Okay, KMnO4 in acidic medium. Fine, this reaction occurs readily. Now, looking at the equation here, we see again, I'm saying you this reaction takes place very readily. How many molecules are there? How many species are involved? How many species are involved out here? So there are 8 H positive means acid, and there is 1 MnO4. So total number of species which are involved out here are 9. There are 9 species involved out here. So just now I said that molecularity rarely exceeds 3. The chances of 4 molecules colliding is extremely low. But this reaction occurs readily. So does this mean that 9 species are colliding simultaneously then? But this reaction occurs readily. We know such reaction does exist. So these two statements are contradictory. Okay, so here I'm saying that molecularity can never exceed 3. Here again, I'm saying that although 9 molecules are involved, although 9 species are involved out here, this reaction occurs readily. So how do I explain this then? So these two statements are quite contradictory. So listen very carefully. Okay, how do we explain this fact now? How come this reaction occurs readily? Okay, whereas I've just now told you that molecularity rarely exceeds 3. Okay, so how do I explain this fallacy? Now, chemical reactions are actually of 2 broad categories. Okay, so number 1 is a elementary reaction. Number 1 type of reaction, elementary reaction, and the other type of reactions are known as complex reactions. The other category of reactions are known as a complex reaction. Okay, so there are 2 broad categories of a reaction. One is a elementary, and the other one is a complex reaction. Okay, so I think you have heard of this type of reactions before. So what is an elementary reaction then? Are those which occurs in a single step, say suppose from X giving you Y. This reaction directly proceeds in a single step. This is as an elementary reaction. So here what is the order of a reaction? It is equal to 1. Okay, 1 reaction molecule is involved. So what is the molecular reaction again? So for elementary reactions which occurs in a single step, order and molecularity are same. Okay, but yes, there is another type of reaction known as a complex reaction. So what is a complex reaction? Complex reactions are those which occurs in a number of steps. It does not take place in a single step. It occurs in a number of steps. And the steps which we show Okay, the steps which we show as to how the reaction occurs. The steps which we show as to how the reaction occurs. This is known as a mechanism of a reaction. It's known as a mechanism of a reaction. So mechanism of a reaction we'll be studying a lot in organic chemistry. What do you mean the mechanism? Mechanism reaction is applicable for complex reaction. So mechanism, it shows the steps which are involved in a complex reactions. Okay, it shows the steps. Mechanism means it shows the steps. It shows the steps involved in a complex reaction. In a complex reaction. Okay. Fine. So, what are we talking about? We are talking about types of reaction. We are just explaining the fact that why some reactions, although large number of reactants are involved, why do they take place readily? Okay. Although the molecularity is 9, 10, why such reaction occurs readily? We are trying to explain that. So, in order to explain that, okay, we are saying that reactions are of two types. Okay. One is a elementary reaction, which occurs in a single step, and the other reaction is known as a complex reaction. Complex reaction means which occurs in a number of steps. Fine. And the steps which are involved in a complex reactions are known as a mechanism of a reaction. Okay. So let me consider this reaction. Suppose this is a complex reaction AB. Now let me suppose that this particular reaction occurs in two steps. Say in step 1, A will give you say X, right? And in step 2, X will give you B. So how many steps are involved out there? There are two steps involved. A is giving you X and X is giving you ultimately product B. Now if I add these two steps, what will I get? If I add these two steps, yes, X will get cancelled. So I'll get A arrow B. So here, in order to proceed from the reactant to the product, okay, it does not occur in a single step as in case of elementary reaction. How many steps are required? Two steps are required. Step 1, A will give you X. Step 2, X will decompose to give you B. So tell me, do you see any X in the overall reaction? Do you see any X in the overall reaction? देखिए बताओ, do you see any X in the overall reaction after adding? ये reaction में no. Yes, in the mechanism they are formed. What type of formed which are but do not appear in the overall reaction. Such species appear in the overall reaction. These are known reaction intermediates. Okay, they are known as reaction intermediates. Reaction intermediates are species which are formed during a complex reaction, but they do not appear in the overall reaction. So these are species which are formed in a complex reaction, do not appear, but they do not appear in the overall reaction. Okay, so what is the reaction intermediate in this case? The reaction intermediate is X. The reaction intermediate is X. Fine. So I think till here it's understood. Now, again, how many steps are involved in this particular case? Now, each step has its own rate. Each step has its own rate and each step has its own molecularity. Okay, for example, step 1, there are step 2. Say suppose out of these two steps, step 1 is the slow step And step 2, it is the fast step. Okay, step 1 occurs slowly and step 2 occurs quickly. It is a fast step. So in such cases of reactions, okay, remember the overall order, remember the order is determined by the slow. The overall order is determined by the rate of the slowest step. Fine. So for this, as for example, for this reaction, how do I write down the rate expression? So rate expression depends upon the rate of the slowest step. Remember, very important, the rate of the overall reaction for a complex reaction depends upon the rate of the slowest step. So this is the slowest step. Step 1 is the slowest step. So what is the reactant involved out here? A. So how do I write down the rate expression for this particular reaction? So rate will be equal to A. So what is the reaction in this slowest step? A. So this will be the rate expression. In case of complex reactions where more than one steps are involved, remember the order of the overall reaction is given by the order of the slowest step. Fine, the order of the overall reaction is given by the order of the slowest step. And always remember, so this will be more important in entrance. So remember the fact that ये जो reaction intermediates है, reaction intermediates should not appear, should never appear in a rate expression. Reaction intermediates should not appear in the rate expression. Fine. So yes, some of you might be having question again, why the rate depends upon the rate of the slowest step? Why this rate depends upon the slowest step? Why not the fast step? Okay. Okay, so let me give you an example for this. So after graduating, okay, after studying, suppose you guys found a job in a nice international company, okay, branded company. And suppose that branded company, one of the segment was manufacturing cycle. Okay, it's a branded cycle, don't worry. So there were 4 persons involved, A, B, C and D. There were 4 persons involved, okay. So will a single guy manufacture the whole cycle? No, there is a division of labor. Suppose A was in charge of constructing the frame of a cycle, B was in charge of constructing the chain, C, seat, and D, brakes. Fine. So these 4 guys were assigned this task. And in a day, okay, per day, in a day, A produced 450 frames. B, he was quite sluggish. He manufactured only 100 chains. C, okay, he was a hard worker, 350. And brakes, he produced say 400 brakes. So these were the parts produced in a single day. Okay, they are manufacturing a cycle. Now you tell me, how many cycles will be manufactured on that particular day? How many cycles will be manufactured on that particular day? How many cycles will be manufactured on that particular day? 450, 100, 350 or 400? How many cycles?
100.
100. Yes, you can't have a cycle without a chain. So no matter how fast these workers work, the rate of production of cycle will be determined by the rate of the slowest worker. Okay, the slowest worker produces 100 chains. So on that particular day, only 100 cycles will be manufactured. So it's quite important to be slow sometimes. Therefore, you'll determine the whole rate. Okay. So not always, this is not applicable to all the things. But here we see that this lowest Walker has determined the rate of production of cycle. So similarly, in a chemical reaction, the rate of the overall reaction is determined by the rate of the slowest step. Okay, the rate of the reaction is determined by the rate of the slowest step. Fine. So again, again. So let me just give you another example. Okay, let me give you another example. I think this example should make it clear. Okay, fine. Okay, so just write down a reaction: ozone plus 2NO2 giving us O2 plus N2O5. So don't worry, you don't have to write down the mechanism. Okay, so mechanism will be provided. So suppose the mechanism goes like this. The mechanism goes like this. So there are again two steps involved. Okay, in one step, ozone combines with 1 NO2. Okay, ozone combines with 1 NO2 to give you NO3 plus O2. Fine. And in the second step, say NO3 again combines with NO2 to give us N2O5. So if you add this, what will you get? If I add this to equation, NO3 will get cancelled. So does NO3 appear in the overall reaction? Do you see any NO3 in the overall reaction? No. So what is the reaction intermediate out here? NO3 is the reaction. They are formed, but they do not appear in the overall reaction. Now, it is given in the question that it should be given, obviously. Otherwise, we can't say just by looking at the equation. So suppose this is the slow step and this is the fast step. Step 1 is the slow step and step 2 is the fast step. Fine, it's given. It will be given. Don't worry. So, what will be the rate expression for this reaction then? What have we just said? We have just said that in case of complex reactions, each step has its own rate. And the rate of the overall reaction, is determined by the rate of the slowest step. The rate of the overall reaction is determined by the rate of the slowest step. So this is the slowest step. So we must write down the rate expression from the slowest step. Rate expression यहाँ से लिखेंगे हम लोग. So the rate will be equal to what? Okay, what are the reactants involved? Ozone. And what is the other reactant? NO2. Fine. So what is the overall order of this reaction? 1 plus 1. It is a second order reaction. It's not a third order reaction. It's a second order reaction because according to the mechanism in the slowest step, only 2 species are involved. Fine. So this is how we determine the order of a reaction for a complex reaction. So these things are going to come. Remember, simple thing, for a complex reaction, the rate of the overall reaction is determined by the rate of the slowest step. Now, again, so just again, I'll take 2 more minutes. What is the molecularity of this reaction? 2. What is the molecularity of this step? 2. Now, for a complex reaction, each step has its own molecularity. Here, the molecularity of both steps are 2 and 2. But it might happen for some reactions, the molecularity of first step can be 2, the molecularity of second step can be 1. There are many examples like this. So, molecularity of a complex reaction is meaningless. For a complex reaction, we cannot say what is the molecularity. Again, for a complex reaction, since each step has its own molecularity. For a complex reaction, since each step has its own molecularity, the molecularity of the overall reaction is meaningless. So for a complex reaction, yes, we cannot determine the molecularity because in the steps involved, each step will have its own molecularity. Step 1 का molecularity हो सकता है 2, step 2, 3. Okay, so since each step has its own molecularity, the molecularity of the overall reaction is meaningless. Okay, so yes, please write it down. For a complex reaction, each step has its own molecularity. Each step has its own molecularity. So the molecularity of overall reaction, or we can say, so the molecularity of a complex reaction is meaningless. So another important question, eh? Okay. So for a complex reaction, we cannot say what is the molecularity. Why? Simply because of the fact that each step will have its own molecularity. So just let me give you a final example of this. Okay, let me give you a final example. Say 2N2O5, 2N2O5, okay, gives us 4NO2 plus O2. So again, there are two steps involved. So N2O5 gives us NO2, 2NO2 plus an acid oxygen like this. Sorry, NO2 and NO3. Okay, it's given NO2 and NO3. Then again, N2O5 combines with NO3 to give you 3NO2 plus O2. So that's given in the question. Okay, you add these two reaction. What is the reaction? Identify the reaction intermediate out here. What is the reaction intermediate out here? In this particular reaction, what is the reaction intermediate? The reaction intermediate means which does not appear in the overall reaction, but yes,
NO3.
they are formed in the NO3. Yes, exactly. NO3 is the reaction intermediate. Very good. So it's given again. This first step is the slowest step, and this is the fast step. It's given. Don't worry. It will be given. So now, what will be the rate of the overall reaction? Tell me, someone. Please tell me quickly. The rate of the overall reaction is given by the rate of the slowest step. Slowest step is this. Okay, this is the slowest step. So we write down the rate expression by looking at the slowest step. So in the slowest step, we have only N2O5. So rate will be equal to K concentration of N2O5. So what is the order? 1. Fine. Now, what is the molecularity of this step? What is the molecularity of this step?
1.
How many species are involved? 1. It's a unimolecular reaction. What is the molecularity of this step?
2.
2. So each step has its own molecularity. So if I ask you, what will be the molecularity of the overall reaction? Will it be an average of 1 and 2, 1.5? Will it go like that? Here, the molecularity of this step 1 is 1. The molecularity of this step 2 is 2. So if what is the molecularity of the overall reaction? So the molecularity of overall reaction is meaningless. Why? Because each step has its own molecularity. Each step has its own molecularity. Remember, the order of the overall reaction depends upon the slowest step, but molecularity does not depend upon the slowest step. Okay, only the order, only the rate expression is written by looking down the slowest step, not the molecularity. So molecularity of a complex reaction is meaningless. Fine. So sometimes order and molecularity can be same. For example, elementary reactions. Some order and molecularity might be different. Okay. And remember, just a simple thing. Can molecularity be equal to 0? Can molecularity be equal to 0? What do you mean by zero molecularity reaction? That means no molecules are involved. No reactant molecules are involved. That means molecularity can never be equal to 0. Can molecularity be equal to fractional? No. Molecularity cannot be 0. Molecularity cannot be fractional. Molecularity cannot exceed 3. Molecularity of a complex reaction is meaningless. But expression is written down by looking at the slowest step. Okay, by looking at the slowest step. So this is all about the molecularity of a reaction.